The left claims to stand up for personal rights and freedoms. However, when dealt with an ideology diametrically opposed to their views, they cower away like unprincipled hacks. That ideology, of course, is Islam. I'm Fayza from the Rebel Media, and let me explain to you why the left has failed in honestly dealing with the problems in Islam. Here's a simple truth that the left doesn't want you to hear. The Western world is morally superior to that of the Islamic world. In fact, so too is much of South America, Israel, Japan, and Korea. We are all morally superior to the Islamic world. Why? For starters, in 12 Muslim-majority countries, including Iran, Yemen, Sudan, and Nigeria, it's illegal to be gay or an atheist. If you happen to be gay or an atheist in one of these countries, and you get caught by the thought police, you'll face life imprisonment, or worse, the death penalty. In addition to that injustice, women face clothing restrictions, driving restrictions. In some Muslim-majority countries like Saudi Arabia, women can't even walk the streets without a man nearby. In other Muslim-majority countries like the UAE, which is home to the luxuriously slave-built city of Dubai, you can't even have sex outside of marriage. If that sex happens to be rape, like what happened recently to a British tourist who was gang raped in Dubai, you will still face charges for having sex outside of marriage. In the UAE, getting raped, apparently, is against the law. It's not just the Islamic government that has retrograde views of human rights. It's also the Muslim people in vast numbers, and there's tons of polling and data to back this up. For example, 55 to 60% of Jordanians have a positive view of Hezbollah and Hamas, a known terrorist group that in their own very constitution calls for the extermination of Jews. 25% of Turkish Muslims believe that honor killings is justified. 44% of Pakistanis view Osama bin Laden as a martyr. 70% of Muslims in Tajikistan believe that women shouldn't have the right to divorce their husbands. 85% of Muslims in Egypt believe that women should be subservient to their husbands, always obeying their husband. And 92% of Saudi Arabians believe that the Islamic State of Syria and Iraq, ISIS, quote, conforms and adheres to the values of Islam and Islamic law. That ideology is what the left has brought to the Western world through mass immigration. And perhaps that would be okay if it wasn't for the fact that that ideology caused the Boston bombing. That ideology caused the Paris and Cologne attacks. It has led to the number of rapes increasing in Sweden 1,000-fold. And it has led to thousands of young children in Rotherham, UK, sex trafficked by Pakistani grooming gangs. You're never going to hear the left talk about issues of violence and intolerance found in Islam. In fact, as we've seen with police and politicians covering up negative stories about Muslims, the left would rather cover up the truth than expose it to the world to see. And what is the truth? Islam as a social and political ideology is terrible, and it needs reformation. By ignoring the problems in Islam, they've failed to honestly deal with Islam. To the left, multiculturalism has superseded their concern to stand up for rights and liberty against the tide of Islamic violence and intolerance. The left thinks it's racist to explain that much of the Islamic world, government and people, has toxic forms of belief that shouldn't be welcomed with open arms into the West. I don't think it's racist to point out these toxic beliefs, and neither should you. Hey, if you enjoy what you saw, then please like and subscribe to TheRebel.media. If you don't, I'm just going to have to assume that you're a racist.